Anyway, I got 3 jars to show. This one is, all this action is on the inside. It kind of looks like it's got a little opalescence to it to me. And this one is squashed really bad. It was stuck to its neighbor, so there's all kinds of things going on, and that's why I kept it out of the 3 or 4 of these that I've found. And like Jerry said, it's a semi-automatic machine, and it's just a neat jar. And Harold liked the one I replaced this one with.
You know, that's a
So
great
it was
example
win-win.
of a $2 to $3 jar if I was listing the price guide, which isn't going to do it any justice.
I would take $100 for it.
Well, that's my point. Price guides are a guide, they're not a substitute.
Matter of fact,
for a
I think
rate.
I sold his brother for about that.
Well, that I believe.
The one that was stuck to it?
This is a new acquisition. It's a Mason's Inn patent, and it's really, really clear. It's almost turning purple too. It's kind of scarce.
And that's important.
And from what I've been told, that usually when you see one that's like this, it's been nuked and then faded back to clear. So it's kind of a cool jar too.
That doesn't been new. Can I see that?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
certainly. No, it ain't.
No, it hasn't. We
number
played
one.
with the black light on that one last
And
night.
this is one I showed to Doug Laburn today because it's an unlisted color in this jar. And Jerry also pointed
Not
out
green?
this patent date on the bottom that we associate with hero jars is for the rounded heel. And this jar doesn't have a rounded heel, but it does got the patent date. And it's also got a very large slug plate on the back. And I don't know, I guess you'd call it kind of a semi-beehive almost. But it's one of my favorite jars. And all my jars are favorites, or I wouldn't have them. But
You mentioned the color on that too, didn't you?
yeah, this is a nice little apple green, kind of yellowish.
I don't care.
And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it, boys and girls.
Okay, good job.
Here's a really nice wire basket. You know, when you go in the antique stores, you sometimes you reach for something, you just think it could be something. Last week we were in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, and this jar was just full of, I think it was some kind of berries. It didn't smell horrible when I opened it, but they had it in here. And when I went to pick it up, you feel something. And this is one of the Atlas Easy Seals you see very seldom. That it actually says tight on the neck,
Wow.
on the front and the back.
Wow. I've never seen that, Russ.
But it's just, so there's still some good treasures out there. Sometimes you have to look a little bit harder because it doesn't show up unless you're really looking for it.
Wow. I have a question for you, Russ.
Yes.
That type that's on there, is that similar to what you see on some of the very early ball sure seals?
It is because if you look on this, where the seam comes around here for the old
It's a little
style,
bulge.
there's a little fold to actually you twist to make the wire,
Yeah.
tighten the wire.
So I guess my next question is, suppose maybe ball had something to do with making the mold for that. Just
Well,
wondering.
that just says tight, like the Canadian jars are not too tightened.
Okay, in the ball sure seal
They say too tightened.
Gotcha. That, I've never seen this. This is spectacular. And it's a very definite, wow.
So for all you people like Atlas jars, there's something to look for.
They wore me out years ago. I stopped looking.
This came all the way from Oregon, and I had to wait 2 weeks to get it.
Yeah.
And when I got it, it was this beautiful, whittled V. Marion jar.
That's a damn good aqua.
And the other reason that I bought it is because it's the star of my collection. Star base. So, on the count of 3, what color is it? 1, 2, 3.
Green.
Damn good
The
aqua.
color gets no respect. Any other jar in that color would be fantastic, but for some reason,
It's an Indiana oddball. You can think of the ball jars. A lot of the Indiana jars had a lot of, it's really good color. It's your jar. You can call it anything you want.
And I found a really nice variant chocolate. I don't know.
Which star is it?
color I want. Yeah. Even when you tell me where
Which
apple
star?
is,
Is it the open star or the pentagram?
The great big open star.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Lean towards it.
When I sell jars like that, I just call them damn good
Throw 'em
options.
up.
Seriously. But it is a damn good option.
And I did bring this ball, perfect mason. And found this about 20 miles from the house at a flea market. And it was like in a group of like 20 jars in a row. All of them were facing forward, but this one was kind of turned off to the side a little bit, and we started to turn it and realized what's going on with that embossing. It is the flat square 281 in the book. And base is 10, and I understand there's only maybe a dozen of these found so far. Very nice. The other one that I have, actually, I wanted to talk to Doug about it, but I didn't get to speak to him. And it's another star base, but it's an unlisted color with the 3 dots. It's actually, it's turning SCA. And I found that on eBay a few years ago, before things went crazy. Thank you.
My show and tell is not so much of a show and tell as a question. And one of the things I've enjoyed most about the hobby is the willingness of our statesmen to share their information and their wealth of knowledge. So I'd like to submit to you guys that these are 2 jars, and they were both made in the Lagodi, Indiana plant. And I've showed it to several.
You don't think they were made out in
No.
okay.
Now, and it's a question. What I based it on was, I think looking at those 2 jars, I think they came from the same maker. And I've showed them already to a couple of the guys. I think they agreed. Okay. And looking at some of the information that Rover provided, one of the things that he pointed out is he found a building head, and it says Lagodi, Indiana, Lagodi Glass Company is manufacturers of exclusively machine-made jars. So we know that they didn't make everything was machine-made, right? But they also showed a picture of the jar that says Mason's Patent. So we're thinking Mason's Patent is one of the jars that they were made. When we look at the Red Book, we see Mason's Patent jars. There's one that was a smooth lip, but when you get to the number, where there's a number between there, those are all round lip. So I think Lagodi had to be a smooth lip, and I think when you look at the timing of when that plant came online, it would have been machine-made jars. But even looking in Dick's information, when I went to his old standard reference, and I look under 813 Mason's Patent, even he says in the notes, maker is uncertain, but possibly Lagodi Glass Company, Lagodi, Indiana. Note, in the early 1900s, Lagodi Glass Company letterhead states manufacturers of exclusively machine-made jars, and showed a jar lettered Mason's Patent. And so I feel like I have found the 2 jars that would bring that to fact over him. I don't know if he actually found those 2 jars, but that's kind of my question. Are those indeed, and based on this information, Lagodi, Indiana jars, both before and after Paul bought that plant? And as a collector of Indiana jars, of course, I'd love to know that.
I still think Coffeyville, Kansas, but that's my.
Yeah, he found a note in 1 jar from
Coffeyville, I think of the collector's plates that are from there, which is ball but this is my thought.
Yeah.
And that's what the jars do show up on this. Ron, you would know more. Do you find these out where you live? The Mason's Patent, ball Mason's Patent.
Also, just to throw in, you know there is a whole nother series of aqua and ball blue machine-made quart jars with Mason's patent on them. Have you seen those before? But just something else to keep in mind. You know, you might find one of those if you look at it, but yeah.
I just looked at those too, and I saw that note, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, these are Lagodi jars, and they look like they're the same, and Paul bought the plant, and he had that note in there, so I don't, so you guys are thinking, no, that we still don't know enough to make
Well,
that or something.
I still go for coffee bill cans, that's me.
So, the note in here about, he thinks it possibly is Lagodi.
Well, it possibly is.
There. Oh.
I mean, we don't know. On a lot of this stuff, the best we can do is make a good guess. Well, there's not a lot of facts. A lot of the company records have been destroyed or kept, so you kind of figure out where the things show up, and you make your best guess.
Well, I mainly collect ball, nothing fancy, but I do have a ball-made jar here. Trademark banner, wide mouth, warranted, with experimental dimples. I brought it to show a label. He's never seen it.
What, one of them?
Red book. Usually on the sanitary sure seal.
I just bought one of them last week with that.
Trademark?
Yeah, yes. One last week.
That's good.
So there's two then, huh?
Yep, yeah, there's two. And since I'm a ball collector, I bought a new squatty hat. I haven't seen it. Already selling those now? Yeah. You guys like the barcode like
They have those at Target.
I just shrunk it down. There's still stuff out there, and they're making new stuff. I brought one jar.
Do you need refill, ma'am?
Trademark leader jar. I bought this like 8 or 9 years ago, about the rodeo meeting. There, they came out of Pennsylvania. Well, just here about 2.5 weeks ago, the lid came on eBay out of Pennsylvania. Just the lid. Which I was very glad to get. They started out for $9.99. I bid considerably more than that, but I was the only one to bid on it.
Wow.
You got it for $10.99?
Oh, you got it for $9.99?
Plus shipping. I don't know, you might know anything about that jar, but it's only
Oh,
one
it's
I've
nice.
seen.
Ron,
Nice
hold it up, I
color
can't.
match. It's mine, the lid's about 5 times darker than the jar. I've never seen the regular aqua.
It does have one little bruise on there, because that's why I got it for
You could live with that.
If there's no bruise, it'll probably be a $12 on it.
Yep.
Ron, you got it that cheap because nobody has a jar that needs that damn lid.
I told him too.
I bid $511 on the lid.
Nobody else has got it.
Doors, I got Marty last night talked about a couple of you got a base bolt mark on there, it's dimpled in, not sure what it is. So it's just kind of a little oddity deal. I picked it up, I didn't even really know I had that thing. I was actually gonna maybe chuck it away in a box. Then I have another jar, it's a wax sealer, it's damaged, but the embossing on it, can't find in the book, it's Z and F and Company WWVA. We don't know whether it's Wellsburg or could be Wheeling. Don't know. I don't know if any more about that, Jen? No?
It's probably a West Virginia jar, but it's one I've never seen.
It'd be West Virginia. Yeah, I don't know whether it'd be Wellsburg or Wheeling.
Both of those would be candidates.
Candidates. Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Yeah. Just a one
Five
off
on that
deal.
one.
Don't know. Anybody knows anything?
John?
Radio station, Haley.
All right, so I wasn't at this show last year, but those of you that were here saw this jar. I think Marty had 2 of these he came up with, and I was lucky enough to be able to get one of those. I thought, well, I'd like to have a ball mason to go with that color. I didn't find a ball mason, but I got a 3L ball. So those are my recent acquisitions.
Wow. Very nice.
Ready. All right.
The 2 jars I brought are I wanted to talk to the new people, but I don't know that there's very many new people here. But last year at Cambridge City was really my first jar show. I collected jars for years and years and years, but I just got exposed to a lot of different things. So that's what I kind of wanted to talk to the new people about. Yeah, Marty, I got exposed to lots of things.
We saw some of them, Carol.
Ken was selling out of his collection, so and I've always liked him in gray. It's one of the very first jars I've got. I've told that story. I didn't bring that one, but it was a Royal that I bought at an auction for $8. And so a half-gallon Royal complete. So that started my him in gray collection. But this is not a paid endorsement for NAG, but both of these happened. This one actually came from you individually, I think, didn't it? But so this is just a push-down wax sealer with the lid, which when I bought it, I didn't even know that this was that big of a deal, but evidently Marty says that this is that big of a deal. So that's one of my new favorite acquisitions in my collection. The other thing I just kind of wanted to talk about was when you want something, to buy it and to look for the best example that you can find. Out at Muncie, I was a little overwhelmed. I knew that I wanted a Royal of 1876. I thought this was more than what I wanted to spend, so I bought a different one there, and I went home with buyer's remorse. I'm very upset that I did not buy the one I wanted, that I bought a different one. So I contacted Greg, and we worked out a deal and emailed me the one I wanted, which made me much happier. So that's an original.
Wow, Greg.
We're at it. I think we ought to give this man a good round of applause for the show today.
We should give Rob Parkinson for coming up with this idea originally a big round of applause. We should give Building 125 downtown in Cambridge City a round because they helped to advertise this show. So did the Log House and the Tin Roof and National Road Antique Mall and me. Yeah, we did that. Oh, and Mr. Spurgeon. Hey, that was awesome, man. Putting all of that. And Larry Munson. This guy put a flyer for this show in everything he mailed from Muncie show on. So I wish he could have made it here. Anyway, and Richard pitched on some advertising too. We've had a lot of great response. The Methodist Church downtown loaned us some tables. Damon Tyree Auction loaned us his whole rig, which was really awesome, and I hope he does that again. And of course, the Huddleston House for letting us be there. And I really want to do that again. I hope you all come back. I hope you bring a lot of other stuff. I'd like to see furniture and everything, because the more people we get there, for whatever reason, the more people we will expose to what we really love. So it's kind of like a little subterfuge. We will get them there, whatever it takes. Anyway, thank you all for coming.